Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Thrive, Not Just Survive. I'm your host, Nasira Jamal, and I am so glad that you all have been joining these lives. And I've been getting a lot of comments and a lot of interaction after the broadcast has been showcased about the different questions. And so, as you all know, this broadcast actually was born because when COVID-19 struck us, there was a lot of negativity and a lot of things on my social feed that I really felt like I needed to change that because I wanted to empower people and allow people to find a different way of thinking. Being entrepreneurs and myself being an entrepreneur, I really felt like we could use this platform to empower and engage people in a very different manner. That now that we've been given this time to, shelter in, use our resources, some people have been struggling with job loss. So today's guest is absolutely phenomenal, and I was so grateful that she accepted my invitation to be on this program. The reason is she's a sales and marketing professional and has been doing it for a few decades now and actually helps clients with different things. So I want to bring her on so she can shed some light on the marketing piece, as well as talk to you about some other things that maybe as an entrepreneur you may not have thought about. So without further delay, let's bring this beautiful guest, Jessica, on, and we'll get this conversation started. Hey, Jessica, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here. And I wanted to, before we start with all of the meat of the conversation, I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell us who you are and how you actually got to doing what you're doing.
So I'm Jessica Koch with Jessica Koch Consulting, and I'm here in the United States, and I'm so happy to be, stretching and spreading my wings into Canada. It's actually not my first feature in a podcast there, so I feel like I'm becoming a part of the family. I am the mother of 7. I have 7 children. I have 5 girls and 2 boys. One of my sons is active duty Army. They're actually all adults except for we kind of started over, and our little girl just turned 9 yesterday. So the youngest is 9, and then the first batch of children, the next youngest is 21. So we have a spread. It's a big family. I have been in sales and marketing probably since high school. And so, yeah, for a hot minute. Decades sounded so old, just saying.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I always say 25 plus years because I'm not going to tell you how many. The gray hair will already do that for you. I have been speaking across the country as a keynote and working with everything from our Fortune 1000 to public school system heads and county government heads, and working with them from a couple of different aspects. I started out, when I really started out, when I was really young, I was at a hotel system where I helped bring in for the conference center for the, corporations would come and retreats and do things like that. Then I went to radio advertising sales, and then I managed a team for some of the Fortune 1000, including Disney and some others you may have heard of, right, out of Virginia. And then now, then I moved to this company where I was helping with reducing operation costs overall. And that's how I spoke. And I sold that from a government perspective. And so landing government contracts and building with the big Fortune 1000 was just something I got really comfortable doing. And I got asked to speak at the national associations for these different entities, including to sit in Washington, D.C. as a think tank on helping county governments think a little bit more like business, even not to make a profit, but not to have a burden on the taxpayers in that region, and so relieve some of the expense. So thinking a little bit more business minding and both reducing costs and actually growing opportunities for revenue stream, right? So revenue stream and building that has always been a part of who I am. And after I grew the corporation I was with for about 13 plus years, the partners bought each other out of the company, and it kind of went its own way, and it was time for me to do something new. And fortunately, I was really good at what I did. And so I had a comfort zone I took kind of a hiatus for a little while, decided what I was going to do. And actually, I didn't decide. It was one of those things that found me. So I had a local chamber reach out to me and ask me to teach a LinkedIn class, even though I wasn't working for anyone. I was actually hiding. I wasn't on social media. I was, I had I very humbly turned down a few positions. I was just kind of done with I felt a little bit, a little bit bruised from the situation. I was like, and I didn't really have a desire to build anything of my own. It's scary to be an entrepreneur. That's a big step for people to take. There's you have to manage the tax pieces and all of the things that you have to do with, registering a bank account or registering your tax IDs here and all these different things. And it just seemed like too much. I was good at really presenting, speaking, and selling someone else's product. And when I didn't have my own anymore, I didn't know that I wanted to be a part of that anymore. And so when they asked me, I reluctantly, they had to ask quite a few times before I finally said yes. But one of my things is people matter most. And so I said, look, I love chambers. I've been a part of them in the past. Do you guys have chambers of commerce where you are? Yeah. So I think they're very important. Networking groups and chambers are valuable. And I had been a member of many of them over my career. And I said, well, right now I'm not a member of the chamber and I'm not joining. I don't own a business. I don't want one. I'm not working for anyone. I'm not going to, but I will come and teach this class. This is kind of how I laid the groundwork, please. And what happened was it was in a very large church that had a big auditorium, and the space was filled. There were people, standing, and I was very shocked, and I thought, this must be a topic they really need. And so I taught it. And then one other thing that happened was I'm a roller coaster junkie. I love amusement parks and roller coasters. All the kids, that was a great excuse for me to come on, who's riding with mom? In the front seat. And I got this feeling of electricity from the audience. I could see people writing. I was getting excited about what I was teaching. I realized these people were, sometimes when you know something, you think, well, doesn't everybody, this isn't very special. Doesn't everybody know this? And that wasn't the case. Everyone needed to know it. And so they were writing it down, and I was getting excited, and they were getting excited, and it was coming back to me. And this is a great experience. I had spoke many, many times, but this was a different exchange of energy that was fantastic. And I thought, well, that was really great. I liked doing that. And then I went back to hiding. And then the president of the local college, they had a women's conference there, and they asked me to be the speaker at the conference. And I was having people approach me and say, hey, will you work with us? Can we hire you? Can we consult? And I kept saying no. And so about 6 months, I worked for people for free. And finally, when I went to speak at the conference, my husband said, suck it up, Buttercup. A business found you, whether you want to be one or not. Let's register. So he helped me. Okay, we're registering. We get the bank account. Here's the business card. We built the website, and and now we're about 2 years in, and I again have been keynoting and helping clients. Actually have clients in Canada that deal with biopharmaceutical industry, and so I have just lots of different niche and interesting customers from coast to coast, and growing out beyond. So
I want to just touch on that, because you said your husband helped you. So for a lot of entrepreneurs, like you said, it's a scary step if you've not done it. There's a lot of working parts and moving parts and legs to all of it. And so it's about finding somebody that's going to help you during that process. It cannot be done alone successfully, right? You can attempt it, and a lot of failure will happen. And then sometimes entrepreneurs retract based on the fact that, it didn't work, and then they kind of lose traction. So that was one point I wanted to kind of point out to people that are really looking at this as an option while they're going through this rebirth of who they are, of being an entrepreneur. The other part I want to really touch on is the energy you felt while you were doing this presentation, and there was almost like a synergy, like between audience and you were finding your path of what you were aligned to do. Yeah. So there's a big component of that when we're entrepreneurs, is to find that thing that really passion related, energizes us, that we want to wake up in the morning and continue doing that, right? So I think those are really two key points that entrepreneurs that are thinking about it, or even in the middle of it, need to really tap into that. What would you say to that?
So I remember reading something, and I wish I knew exactly what it was, which book it was, but the one sentence stayed with me. And the question was, what makes your heart sing? You know, and I love that because, and truly, I didn't think of it that way before either. So it is a challenging thing to find. Yeah, I'm 47 and fabulous, and I absolutely have my life's dream. I, you know, with between my family and life situation, and how I choose to live life on my own terms, as well as my business and how I run that and what time I put in it. I'm very I draw a lot of really clear lines, but I didn't know what that looked like before. So I think that that is part of a journey. And there is a couple of books I would suggest for that. I'm actually connected to on LinkedIn. His name is Mark Allen, and it's MARC, and he owns I think it's New World Life Publishing. I saw, I think they did a rebranding, and it used to be New Life Publishing, but now I think it's New World Life Publishing. But anyway, he wrote a book called Millionaire Course, and it's really not about being a millionaire. And he has the audio, and I would suggest the audio first and then getting the book, because he reads the story himself. He reads the book himself, and it's his journey. And it really is if you follow the steps in it, it becomes a workbook to really find what is your thing, and how to get it in line with that. And then that is what actually ends up producing the millionaires of the world, right? Is because we find this thing that connects us so well that the energy, and I feel like the, you know, law of attraction steps right into play, and all the pieces just click into line. It's really beautiful and fantastic.
It's a really good way of obtaining clarity, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of misfocus, right? When you're kind of
Yeah.
pulled in all these different directions, that it
And
allows
he gives
you
you,
to focus.
yeah, and he gives you that step by step. Do this, then do this, then do this. So you can spend some time with yourself and really get yourself in that headspace. And I have to tell you, I must have listened to it 100 times, and I'll probably listen to it and read it. And I have 2 copies of it in my home, 100 more, just because it's one of those things you'll want to revisit, you know, in the new, in your new year. It's one of my new year books I usually grab or re-listen to, because it's just fantastic, and it helps me figure out, where am I now? What's my next step now? It's much like a vision board process.
Right.
Right. The other piece you asked me about was getting that help. Obviously, a business coach like me is fantastic. However, if you're not there yet, you know, I was just chatting with chatting with you before we jumped on, and we were talking about, there are resources in our country and in yours, and we're going to make sure we have a link to this in the comments, on resource centers that will often give you your startup business consulting for free. And so there are those organizations and those centers, and then the next step is, once you know who you want to be and how you want to, maybe you've already decided to be an entrepreneur, and you've already begun, you know, to start your engine, you know, the little engine that could, right? And we're hopping up the line. One of the next other best resources typically is found in your library. So I'm going to do a little research, and then make sure again that I drop a link in the comments below. But in a lot of library systems, they invest in resources that are hugely valuable for a small business owner. And one of the things you want to look for is online databases. The ones I've seen most popular throughout our country, and like I said, I'm going to do some digging. We didn't have this thought before, otherwise I'd have done my homework prior, right? But there are 3 main ones. Hoover's is a great database that is very expensive for an individual to buy on their own, or a small business to even purchase on their own. So if your library is investing in that, please take advantage of that. It really helps you. You need to know who your customer is, down to the person, and also down to the annual revenue they make. Because guess what? You may have a great service or product, but if you find yourself constantly getting people who really want you but just don't have the resources, then you're not prospecting properly. That is one of the things that, you know, sales and marketing are key. If you do not have that, you actually don't have a business, right? You have a bunch of window shoppers and a bunch of cheerleaders on the side saying, I think your stuff is great, would love to have it, but just don't have the resources for it. So you're attracting window shoppers and not people who actually have the resources to invest in you. And that is key in having your business be successful, which is why I'm talking about these database tools. The other one is A to Z databases, and the other one is Reference USA. All three of these are almost identical in what they provide for you. Really, you're looking for a fine-tuned, detailed list. Some of them will tell you how many years they've been in business, how much revenue they make, who the key contacts are, and the decision makers. It'll tell you their email addresses. This is all really important information for you to have as you begin to grow your prospecting list and know who you want to work with. As you develop that list, then you want to watch for those companies using your Google alerts, because they'll put out press releases. They will actually tell you when they're ready to buy something. So a lot of press releases and a lot of events that happen in big to small to medium corporations that have put out a press release like that, who will, the mid-size and that larger company are the ones who have the money for you, right? They're going to tell you what they're ready to buy by making these press releases and announcements. If you pay attention, there are buying events that happen. There are buying events that happen in individuals' lives, and you know this as a realtor, right? So if someone's getting married or having a baby, they might need to grow, or maybe they're downsizing because they're hitting retirement. There's these buying event opportunities that you're keen to based on your customer base. Well, guess what? That happens in the business world too. Maybe they're changing locations and they made an announcement. Maybe they updated their website and they're launching that announcement. So when there's a new website, think about what buying event goes with that. If someone updated their website and they're announcing that everywhere, guess where else they might announce it that they wouldn't, maybe not always do, is they might buy a billboard and say, hey, check out our new website. They might decide to buy some magazine advertising. They might want some tchotchkes with their new advertising. So if you sell those kind of materials that provide businesses with something they can mail, some sort of, mouse pad or eyeglass wiper or something with their logo on it and announcing their new website, and check it out. This might be a great buying opportunity, right?
Right.
So these are buying events that they're telling you about if you just listen. And the way to listen without it being too much of your time is using something like a Google event. So figure out so first, get the local resource from the small business office in your community to help you set up your business. Then decide who your customer is and get your prospects, and then pay attention and listen to your prospects' buying signals. And then after that, of course, there's this whole marketing and sales plan that goes deeper.
That's awesome. I think I just want to highlight this comment Anne Marie's just posted: window shoppers and cheerleaders. It's a huge takeaway. Like, so when you're creating a business, you could even be in the middle of it and wondering, why is it that I'm struggling with actually creating a revenue-based business, right? Where it's not just all giveaway and takeaway. This is huge, that you want to connect to your avatar or the audience that you're going towards in a very focused way. So I think these are really important things for an entrepreneur to consider, so that their success journey is shortened, meaning that the learning curve isn't so long, where you almost sometimes have entrepreneurs failing, right? Because they don't see how to create that revenue, and every business needs revenue. So I think we have to create that synergy between impact and revenue, right? So we can be mission-based. I know you are. I know we talked about this, where if you have a business and attach a cause to it, because it serves many different things. So if you can just highlight that and what that means, that would be awesome.
So before I would jump into cause marketing, I would say the first step is to talk about affiliate programs, because that really links into tying, and you'll see, tying that to a cause. So affiliate marketing is much like some businesses call it a referral fee. Like, so if you were to, real estate is very touchy about that. You have to actually, I think, have a license in order to refer another real estate agent. But there are some industries that you can say, hey, I'm going to send you a customer, and they're going to say, great, I'm going to send you, 10% or 5%, thank you. Or there's some sort of exchange back and forth for that kind of referral. And that's a valuable relationship. And you want to make sure you have some of those as you're growing your business, by the way. So referral partners are great. And then the other form of that is affiliate marketing. It's very similar, but it's electronic based. So that means you actually log into a portal. There's a software connected to it. You sign up to be an affiliate for whoever or whatever you're sharing. And you have a link that tracks to you and follows you around, so that if you share that on Facebook, for example, and then your people and then your people and your people share it down the road, and so obviously you have no idea that 1,000th person who saw that link that is tied to you decides to go back and buy the product, then you still make revenue, right? And so that's the kind of an affiliate link. And this is a little bit different than affiliate is usually only one or two tier deep. And so that's kind of the difference between network marketing or multi-level marketing, where those are companies that are founded on that kind of concept, where you have an affiliate link that tracks to everything you do, including everyone you bring in and bring in and bring in. And, there's some very good network marketing companies out there. And I know some people are like, oh, no, not that. And, I think the mindset of the globe is changing on that whole product and business model, because the truth of the matter is that is very much how an insurance company works and a real estate office works. There's a main broker and there's a franchise owner. And guess what? When he brings in the new agents and the people, they all get the benefit of his or her knowledge and resources, and they all share a little piece with the owner of the broker. And this is how it works in insurance. And guess what? This is how it works with attorneys and lawyers. When I say, oh, this network marketing stuff is such a scam. Well, attorneys are doing it. I don't know. Probably not too much of a legal issue because when they start their own office, they bring in people. And guess what? Those people give a little bit to the lead person of the offices, so they become partners. And, there's a little more complicated than that, but it's very similar. So these are different ways that you can work with affiliate marketing. One of the ways I'm doing it that's tied to causes is, for example, I have LinkedIn classes. I have a getting started class and an advanced class. And I have nonprofits through our country, including American Cancer Society and some other really recognizable, globally nonprofits, that if they share, and this is much like any other fundraiser, so you could sell candles or wrapping paper or whatever, but in this case, they can sign up in this affiliate link, and they have a link, and they can share this on their Facebook page and their newsletter, and with the families and businesses that have supported their cause in the past, and they receive 40% of the sale. And so it's a really fantastic way for them to actually give support to their families and businesses right now, because LinkedIn training is actually helping families. So your high school graduates and your college students to, begin to build the really good connections and relationships they'll need for their career for the future. The people who are being displaced out of work right now, those families who are suffering with that, this is helping those families. Those business owners who are really looking for new clients and turning connections into customers and looking to also get good, really strong referral partners, this helps them too. So it's a way for them to ask them to say, hey, if you want to invest in something for a small investment, it's going to help our nonprofit, it's going to help you and your family, and we're going to get 40% of the sale. So this is a way that, a little bit better than a tin can of popcorn or something like that might be in a fundraiser. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Popcorn is good.
Yeah.
This is one example of how you can do this. And I really want to challenge people to think differently about building some sort of informational online product that they could have this kind of affiliates with, because even if you're the plumber around the corner, or you have a brick and mortar, or maybe you're even a t-shirt shop, right? Couldn't you create something on how to build your own t-shirt design, right? Or how to, make sure you protect your home from pipes busting, and the top 5 things that plumbers have to come out for. If you buy this $15 or $25 course, you're going to learn it, and you're going to save thousands of having us show up on your doorstep, right? Wouldn't that be fabulous? And what about a small portion of that sale going to a cause that they love? So they're making a little bit of residual revenue. And they're sharing knowledge with they're bringing value to their customers and the community. And so it's kind of like this massive win. They're building this relationship and this trustworthiness. And I'm going to breathe.
Yeah. And no, you take a breath, but the information is so amazing, like what you're sharing. And I think, there's obviously a need for it, but what I really want to sort of talk about, and I think COVID-19 may have brought this for some people to think about, is, you're relying, let's say, on one income, and you've got this job or whatever it is. If you create now something that is multiple sources of income, and if something goes amiss on one side, at least you've got something else going. And I think this is really key in terms of not just for entrepreneurs, but just for people out there looking at this situation that COVID-19 brought upon us. Is this, oh my gosh, now what, right? But if you have this set up, and as you work through it, to set up multiple sources of income in things that you are passionate about, that you relate it to causes that really feed something else, paying it forward and creating a community around it, I think it's very, very beneficial for not just you and your family, but for people at large, or your, your circles at large, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually a little bit beyond that. So you want to have multiple streams of income, and let's talk about what that looks like, but also multiple price points. Okay. So one of the things I thought about when I was beginning, when this animal of a monster of a business just decided to blow up and take off, when I finally decided to say, okay, this has all been fun and I've been getting all these referrals and all these speaking engagements, and who's going to complain about any of this? But there was no organized mass for me for my business, right? Because I told you how it was born. It was just like, bam, there I was. I had all these people. I was doing all this stuff. I was doing it for free. Then I had paying clients, and it just kind of happened, right? And I decided I wanted to drive the bus. And one of the things I found as I was going through the initial experience of, just really being blessed with success, I had this category of people who, like we talked about, the window shoppers who really couldn't afford me, but really needed the information. And for myself, people matter most. And so I needed, a way to deal with this. And one of my ways at first, just because of who I am, is to say, oh, let me just give you the code for free. Let me just give you the class for free because your family is struggling and you need this, right? But I also learned, because all great coaches have coaches, right? And I'm going to say that consultants and coaches, if you don't get to the Olympics without a coach. I'm just saying, if you want your business to really go somewhere, start with the free services if that's what you need to, but then you must level up. Otherwise you'll stay stuck, right? You have to have a coach. I have a coach. And one of the things I learned in my journey of being a better version of me for my customers was that when you give something away for free, there is no value attached to it for that person. In the subconscious, even if they're your good friend or your sister or your brother-in-law, whoever they are, and you love them the most, you're hurting them the most by giving whatever it is that you have that's so good for them for free, because they won't attach a value to it, which means they most likely won't take action on it, which means they definitely won't get the benefit from it, right? Because without action, you don't have benefit. So when you're building out your plan and your business, think about that piece of that category of people who really need you, but they don't have the resources for you. And I have, two categories like that in my business. One is the students, right? I want the high school and the college students to be able to get my information for free. How do I do that? So one of the ways I do it is I get corporate sponsors, and they sponsor the education. They're grooming and building a relationship with their potential new employees of the future as they're getting their education, and they need these talented students, and they get the feel good hero space of being the sponsor for students in education. So that's one problem solved. Then I developed this affiliate program, because it's not just for nonprofits and chambers and the bigger organizations, even though that's who I am, of course, going after, because it's a great synergy for us. Let's just face it, I'm making good business decisions, right? But then I also have the individuals who say, they approach me, I'm out of work, I really need your class. And I said, great, I have this affiliate program. If you share the link on your social media with a few other people, 2 or 3 purchases, the money, 40% of the money goes to your PayPal account. You now have the resources for the class or for your gas tank, whatever is good for you and your family. But I don't have to feel guilty, and I've done something, and I have a category that I can solve that problem. Then I have the online courses, which are very affordable and a small price, right? Then I also work in a cost savings piece, because my motto, my tagline is sell more, spend less. So it's no result, no fee. They share their invoices with me, families and businesses, and then we look and do a review to see where we can save them money. And so that's something else I do. And then, like you and I are sisters in a journey of bank coaching, and I have that tool and that piece, and that has a low end entry piece, and then a little bit more of a one-on-one with me kind of piece. And then I have my $250 an hour plus success fee that I do with corporations, that I'm helping them get government clients or big Fortune 1000, or really build out their whole plan. Sometimes I'm working with a sales manager, and we're building out the structure for all their locations to have some cohesiveness, and the onboarding, the training, and the prospecting, and the systems and tools. And then I'm an affiliate for all of the different special tools, and I tell everyone that I use. So I use Screencast-O-Matic when I do my recording training. I'm an affiliate for that. I use Online Philippines. I teach people how to build really successful virtual assistants out of other countries so that they can use their time only what they need to in their business, and they can very quickly scale their business, because the only thing we can't duplicate is our own energy and our own time. We have to be able to use that wisely. So like I just seriously have a specific plan for each one of these lines of revenue, and that's not actually all of them for me. And so I have money coming in from different directions for different reasons all the time.
Right.
I'm never dependent on just one. And to me, that's what multiple streams of revenue, different price points for all buyers, and different categories that all sing together and tie together.
Right. And I think that, I mean, it's so powerful, right? Like it's that not only are you teaching it, but you are practicing it, you're applying it. And that's what has brought you the level of success, is you really learn most while you're teaching others. And I think this will, right? So I think in terms of us, you know, this other journey together, but even just in our own businesses, I think the level of success is based on a couple of different things. One, being able to be like coached and be coachable, so that somebody who's done it, somebody who's a little bit ahead of you, who can get you there faster, is key. Like, you know, a lot of people will cut corners where this is concerned, where they'll say, well, you know, I don't want a coach, I don't want to pay for a coach, but I'll rather spend it on my website. But the problem with that thinking is, well, the website's not just going to generate business on its own, right? You've got to know what to do, who to talk to, what to, you know, who your people are, where you're going to prospect. So all of these things tie together. So that's really an important piece. And I know you and I could probably talk for 24 hours and right, and give the information to people that are really out there looking for what to do next. And though, you know, we're sort of almost at the end of our interview, but what I want people to get out of this is that there's a lot of resources and information out there. So once you start doing that, start reaching out to people that you resonate with, that have the information and the tool set that they've already created, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. Find these people. So for those of you guys who are on my broadcast and those who watch it on replay, you know, check Jessica out on her website. There's a lot of information, the resources are there. I think that, Jessica, they could probably send you a message from there, or maybe.
And yeah, on my website as well as on my LinkedIn profile, I'm the most reachable person ever. And one day I may have to change that, but right now I feel very led to, and to be open and touchable. You have my cell phone number, you have my email address, you have my smoke signal, you have my, you know, Facebook, you have my, you know, every way that you could think of reaching me. I am there. You can find me. And so,
well, thank you. And I want to thank you. I know you're a busy woman, with not just your family, but your business. So I want to thank you for taking this time and, you know, guiding my audience through these processes and things that perhaps they can consider if they haven't done so. So I want to thank you for your time. I'm so ever so grateful to have met you through a different journey. But you know what? If you have any closing remarks before we end the show, I'd love that. And I just, again, want to thank you so much.
You know, it's so funny. I always ask my guests too. So I mentioned I was going to plug my show. I'm actually featuring you very soon. I have a show called Profound Professionals. I've been running an interview series since 2018, and I feature people who are amazing in their industry and touching a cause that's greater in the world, to spread awareness on different causes that are out there and different needs that are not being filled. I guess I would say a couple of things. One, you know, I say this, and I was featured in, I'm bragging again, but, you know, if I don't tell you, who will, in a book series that comes out of Washington, D.C. It's called Profiles of Success. You have to be nominated, interviewed, accepted, and then they feature a chapter of you in this book, and it's distributed to the universities in our region. And I'm in the 15th series, and the title they made of it, which I found interesting, because I didn't choose the title. There was a professional writer that's hired to put this all together, and they titled my chapter "People Matter Most," because I guess I say it so much. So that people matter most. And then with 7 children, my other quote is, "Now is later sooner, so do it now." Because I would have kids, you know, I'd say, "Hey, it's time to clean your room." They say, "Mom, I'll do it later." I'm, "Oh, now is later, much sooner, so let's go do that now."
Right.
Keep that in mind for your business too. The other thing is, start now. You know, I have a friend, and she's genius, and her name is Blaney Teal, and she does the funnel systems for people. And she always says, done beats perfect, right?
Yes.
And so do something and just know that it's in stage one and that, yes, you can advance it to the next stage. Thank you, Susan, for your very nice words. And that you can get it to the next stage and the next stage, because I know sometimes perfection is paralysis. So take some steps forward. And I think that will help.
That's awesome. Thank you again. You are this beacon of light. I feel like I've met my soul sister from a
Oh,
different
me
time.
too. I'm coming.
And
Remember, chocolates on the pillow. I'm so coming.
yes,
As
yes,
soon as
you're
it's
totally
back up again.
the invitation is open. So for those of you who don't know what we're referring to, Jessica's been wanting to come to Canada and go to to Niagara Falls, and so I've generously invited her to our home, which is not far
No.
from.
I invited myself. Let's be truthful.
All right, I'll give it to you. So, anyways, thank you so much. You're just an amazing soul. And I will definitely be talking to you again soon. So I just wanted to close this show off by being extremely grateful for the opportunity to have you here. So I hope you all enjoyed it. This is someone that not just preaches what she's teaching, but actually applies it. And this is the key to any business. We can go off and take a course here and a course there and take all the knowledge in, but if we're not really applying it, then really it's for nothing. So I really want you to take that away today and think about how you can apply any of the teachings or learnings, not just on this show, but anything that you've perhaps come across. If you need to reach out to me or Jessica, by all means, we're here. We are more than willing to help you and guide you with whatever we can. And I just want to thank you guys for being here. You guys have supported me while I started this journey a couple of months ago. And I'm so grateful for people coming up and being open to being on my show and being interviewed. And I hope the information that we're bringing forward is helping you. And that's the key. So wishing you a wonderful, happy, blessed Monday. I will see you again tomorrow. And if you have any questions, just reach out. We're here to help. Be kind to yourself and to others. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.